In this video, I have a paragraph which would feel like a rather dense one. I wanted to pick this paragraph from the book On Photography by Susan Sontag. The preview is available on Google Books. You can check it out if you want to. The reason I picked up this particular content is to show you that a lot of times what actually feels so difficult to read is not necessarily from a reading comprehension perspective as difficult as it looks like. A lot of reading is again about habits, like I keep reminding you again and again. But it's also important to know the right way to read. If you read things the right way, you'll be able to grasp the information in the right way. As you would observe in all these videos, and I'll keep reiterating it again and again, so don't worry. But as you would observe in the series of videos that I'm going to make, and I've already uploaded some of them, oftentimes a lot of what you see is not important for the reading comprehension as far as answering questions is concerned. You have to understand the general tone of what the author is trying to say. You have to understand or grasp the main idea, but a lot of content can be ignored. The problem is that unless you read each and every word, you do not know which content to ignore and which content not to ignore, which means you need to be a good reader. You need to be a fast reader because you cannot skip any of the information. But once you read the information, you should be able to, or you should be a good judge of what is the information that you need to retain and what is the information that you don't need to retain. Now on the right side here, I have added a couple of points. Okay, if, this part here. Okay, so take a look. Complicated sentences. So two things make reading difficult. Okay, complicated sentences and complicated ideas. What are complicated sentences? The sentence is too long. The diction, for example, is heavy. What does it mean? Diction is heavy. Very difficult words. They challenge your vocabulary, and sometimes the words could be, ambiguous per se, or there could be multiple meanings, and you have to understand contextually which meaning is more important. The sentence structure could be complex. What is the meaning of complex sentence structure? There are multiple ideas inside the same sentence, and those multiple ideas interact with each other in different ways. Okay, that's a complex sentence structure. For example, I could add two clauses and put an although in the beginning, or add a but somewhere and then connect multiple. For example, I could say I loved watching Game of Thrones, but then it became meaningless towards the end because. So you understand this is a complex sentence structure because I'm adding multiple ideas and they interact with each other. Think of it like an equation in maths, which is connected using various operators. Okay, so complicated sentences make reading difficult. Complicated ideas make reading difficult. Now, what is complicated ideas? The topic is unfamiliar. For example, you could be reading philosophy or psychology, or I don't know, depends on what subject you don't like or you're not acclimatized with, but you could be reading a subject you're not familiar with, or the arguments are too abstract. What is the meaning of an abstract argument? It means that objectively you cannot put the facts together. The ideas are all in the air. Philosophy, for example, Jenny noticed that whatever I'm trying to express cannot be proven. Okay, it's not rigid. There are no fixed constraints on the ideas. The ideas themselves are too vague. So those are called abstract arguments. And to make things worse, it could sometimes be arguments built on abstract arguments, which makes it even more difficult. So there is a vague argument in para 1, and para 2, it takes that vague argument and then puts conditionalities around it, which is one of the reasons why psychology passages could be so difficult sometimes. So you need to build your foundations in both, in both cases. You have to be able to read heavy ideas irrespective of how the language is. See, for sometimes the language could be easy, but the idea could be difficult. So in terms of ideas, you should be able to, not get boggled down, or, not take mind-blowing ideas and get overwhelmed by them. You should be comfortable with heavy ideas. Sometimes good reading, sometimes good conversations help. Okay, having thinking people around you will help. In that case, complicated sentences, reading long sentences, reading authors who write long sentences, reading from sources which are, heavy with vocabulary helps. So those two you have to take care of. Let's quickly look at this para. There are a couple of questions also at the end of this particular para, where I'll show you how we could use our information to eliminate the wrong options and to hone in or come to the right answer. For many decades, the book has been the most influential way of arranging and usually miniaturizing photographs, thereby guaranteeing them longevity, if not immortality. and a wider public. See, this already is a complex sentence that I was talking about, isn't it? Starters, just look at this bit, okay? As usual, as I keep reminding you, the double dash. Photographs are fragile objects, easily torn or mislaid. Now, this complicates a sentence, but this is not part of the idea in this particular sentence. This piece could have been separated out from the sentence, and my idea still remains the same. So whenever you see information between the two dashes, you have to imagine that it is a separate sentence. Okay. For many decades, the book has been the most influential way of arranging photographs. This is your idea number one. You have to learn how to break ideas if you want to do well in reading comprehension. You cannot afford to search for this full stop. So you have to get out of the habit of searching for the full stop. You only look for the idea. What's the first part? For many decades, okay, this part itself is useless. This is giving me a time frame. This is a phrase. The book has been the most influential way of arranging photographs. This is actually idea number one. And all I need to remember is this word, influential. Influential way of arranging photographs. Thereby, see, this is a different idea altogether. Thereby guaranteeing them longevity, if not immortality, and a wider public. Guaranteeing them longevity and guaranteeing them wider public. See, this piece here is another phrase that is useless, isn't it? Thereby guaranteeing them longevity, okay, them is photographs, if not immortality. So it does not guarantee immortality, but it probably guarantees longevity. Longevity, but not, you know, endless, infinite, not immortality. And a wider public. So the keywords here are longevity and wider public. Okay. So book has been the most influential way of arranging photographs. The book guarantees photographs longevity, and the book guarantees photographs a wider public. So you have three ideas here in this one long sentence, but you need to be able to break them into small parts. Then you'll be able to remember better. Okay. The photograph in a book is obviously the image of an image. We already know this, so nothing special here. You can just in your head scratch out this part. Okay. Image of an image. Obviously, if it's a book of photographs, the image of the photograph is there in the book. But okay, one of the most powerful words in English language, along with however, this is a contrast marker. Okay, now remember that if there is a but, there is an idea in front of the but, and there is an idea following it. And the idea that follows but is always more important than the idea that precedes but. Okay, Game of Thrones fans will already know this. This is a classy dialogue from Jon Snow, right, where he tells Sansa Stark, anything that comes in front of but is horseshit, he says, isn't it? Same logic even in RC. It's one of the best pieces of RC advice anybody can actually give you. I mean, if Sansa were writing Cat, that would have been great advice, isn't it? So the photograph in a book is obviously the image of an image. But since it is to begin with a printed smooth object, a photograph loses much less of its essential quality when reproduced in a book than a painting does. So we don't need to worry about what comes in front of this. We need to worry about what comes afterwards. But since it is what the image of an image to begin with, a printed smooth object, so the photograph in a book is obviously the image of an image, but since it is to begin with a printed, so this keeps troubling us, isn't it? So read it once, second time if you have to repeat the sentence, this is not required. So these are the meaningless phrases which you need to avoid, okay, when you're reading. So the photograph is a printed smooth object. A photograph loses much less of its essential quality when reproduced in a book than a painting does. Okay, so when a painting is reproduced in a book, it loses a lot more of its quality than the photograph. What is the reason for that? Because the photograph is already a printed smooth object. So we are comparing a painting with a photograph, both being represented inside a book. That's idea number two. So if you look at what we've covered so far, first the author is talking about representing photographs in books, and then the author gives you the advantages that the book offers to photographs. Then the author says that the photograph is a smooth object, it loses much less of its essential quality. A minor inference here, if you are good with critical reasoning, you will also notice when the author says a photograph loses much less of its essential quality, you can understand that even for a photograph, some of its essential quality is lost, but it is much less in quantity, whatever is lost, compared to what a painting would lose. Okay, so the author is giving you comparison. So to highlight that the photograph does not lose a lot of its quality, the author gives you the example of painting. Painting would lose a lot more when reproduced in a book. Okay, still, this is again a marker for you. Still, so observe all these. These are the words. These are your markers. These break the paragraph into ideas. So you might be looking at one big paragraph, but they're all multiple ideas. And you have to learn how to see those ideas separately, and that depends on good reading habits. Okay, still, The book still, why are we using the word still here? The author is saying the photograph will not lose much of its quality compared to painting. Still, so a good reader would straight away know I'm going to get something negative here. Why? Because the sentence here, this part, is positive about photography in a book, photographs in a book. Okay, it's not going to lose its essential quality, is positive. The moment the author puts a contrast marker there, still, I can expect something negative. When I read what I'm expecting, I obviously read faster. That's how your reading speed increases. Not just about, speed reading per se, but it's also about better comprehension. Still, the book is not a wholly satisfactory scheme. I already know this because I could anticipate it. For putting groups of photographs into general circulation. Okay, so this entire part is useless information for me, because if I'm good at critical reasoning, I'll probably infer this bit from the previous sentence itself. The book is not a wholly satisfactory. The still word is enough for me. Not wholly satisfactory. The sequence in which the photographs are to be looked at is now the explanation for why it is not satisfactory. Again, a new idea which is important for me. The sequence in which the photographs are to be looked at is proposed by the order of pages, but again, important word, nothing holds readers to the recommended order. That's the important piece. Yes, there is a proposed order, but nobody is forcing you to go to that or go in that particular order. So the book has an order for the photographs, but as a reader, you're not forced to go through that order. And according to the author, that's not a good thing. How do I know that? I know it from this still part. Just this still tells me that the author is unhappy about this part. Okay, clear? Because this is the explanation of the negativity. Even within the explanation, I have two ideas connected using the word but. Whatever comes in front of the but is not so important. So we'll just scratch this out. What comes afterwards? This is the important information. So in 4 sentences, you're finally coming down to the idea that the author thinks is important. So you make a mental note again. But nothing holds readers to the recommended order or indicates the amount of time to be spent on each photograph. Chris Marker's film, and we will not make a habit of not reading stuff like this. We will not read stuff like this. Chris Marker's film, whatever that name be, a brilliantly orchestrated meditation on photographs of all sorts and themes. If you notice, this is the double comma. The double comma is like the double dash. Okay, one of the most important pieces of punctuation in English language. Okay, put brackets around it, and then you'll understand what is happening. The actual sentence jumps over and above the double commas. So Chris Marker's film suggests, that's how the sentence continues. The film suggests a subtler and more rigorous way of packaging still photographs. That's the actual idea. Between double commas, just like the double dashes here, if you notice here, the author just added information, right? Same logic here. The film, and then the author suddenly remembered, oh, I have to add some information about the film. So adds some information. That's not so important for the idea that we're discussing so far. So the film is a brilliantly orchestrated meditation on photographs of all sorts and themes. If there is a question on the nature of the film, then this information becomes important. Otherwise, it's not. Okay. Meditation here, notice the word meditation here. The word meditation is not the usual meaning of the word meditation. It's the secondary meaning, which is introspection or reflection or contemplation. Always be careful about secondary meanings or associated meanings of words because the wrong options will try to make you pick the primary meaning of the word meditation. I'll give you some option where meditation as we know it generally will be there, and you would be tempted to pick that as the answer. Be very careful, especially for words like meditation, where the primary meaning and the secondary meaning are completely different from each other. Okay. Chris Marker's film suggests a subtler and more rigorous way of packaging still photographs. The question in your head as a good reader, you should immediately ask, what is that way? Okay. Both the order and the exact time for looking at each photograph are imposed, and there is a gain in visual legibility and emotional impact. But photographs transcribed in a film cease to be collectible objects, as they still are when served up in books. Okay, so the film suggests something really nice. Okay, which is a subtler and more rigorous way of packaging still photographs. What is it? The order and the exact time for looking at each photograph are imposed. Okay, how is it different from the book? In the book, the order is not imposed. The order is given. It's the order is a suggestion for you, but you may not really stick to the suggestion. But in the film, it is imposed because you can't change the order in a film. Both the order and the exact time for looking at each photograph are imposed. What time you should look at the photograph and the order in which you should look at the photographs. And there is a gain in visual legibility and emotional impact because the order is imposed. But, okay, so again, you know that something even more important is coming on the right side, meaning the author does not like the advantage that the film is providing. That's why there's a but, isn't it? Contrast marker. There's something positive in front of but. So good reader will know that something negative is going to come. What's that negativity? Photographs transcribed in a film cease to be collectible objects as they still are when served up in books. That's the author's problem. If the photograph appears in a film, you can't collect it as an item. If it appears in a book, you can collect it. Let's look at the questions now. There are two questions here. You can actually pause the video here and solve this question. A shortcoming of the approach to resolve the author's primary contention against packaging photographs in books is that. Now, if you notice, there are three parts to this particular question. Question itself is like a reading comprehension passage, isn't it? My apologies for that, but I wanted you to understand how some advanced critical reasoning questions could look like, but you have to just break it down so that you know what exactly it is that you need to find out before you jump into the options. You always ask what is the author trying to ask, and what is the questions that are trying to ask, and what kind of tone should I be looking for. For example, here there are three parts. Shortcoming is the question. Okay, shortcoming of what? The approach to resolve. Approach to resolve what? The author's primary contention against packaging photographs in books. So what was the author's primary contention or his objection, or her, rather, Susan Sontag, her objection to packaging photographs in books? The objection was that the order is not imposed and people may go haphazardly. That was the objection. How would you resolve it? The suggestion was made that a film can be made and the film imposes the time and the order very well. Shortcoming of that. So we need something that is negative for films, isn't it? That's going to be our answer, because it's the question is asking me for shortcoming. Sorry for the bad writing. Shortcoming of the approach to resolve the primary contention. So shortcoming of the films. Books and not film offer an opportunity to collect photographs as items. This is positive about books and negative about film. So this is a possible answer. Books are collectible items, but films aren't. Positive about books, negative about films, possible answer. An order and the exact time one should look at a photograph for can be imposed in films. So this is positive about film. So this cannot be the answer. I'm looking for something negative for the film. A reader cannot be forced to follow the recommended order of pages in a book. This is negative for a book. So I can eliminate this option because I'm looking for something that is negative about film, right? So now what is the difference between option A and option B? Whenever you come down to the two close options, what you do is an A minus B. Okay, that should be a standard habit. You should not try to find the answer in the first round of looking at the options. Your first job is to eliminate the easy options. Then you come down to the two close options and then you kind of subtract one from the other to see what is extra. For example, in both cases, you can almost cancel it out like an equation, right? We are talking about collecting photographs as items here. We are talking about collectible items here. Okay. We're talking about not film and not film here. So what is left? Here we are left with only books. Here we have the extra part offering an opportunity. And this is the difference. And now I need to ask, did the author say that books offer an opportunity to collect photographs, or did the author talk about collecting books? We're not worried about collecting books. The author's point was that you can collect photographs when they are in a book, but you cannot collect photographs when they're in a film. So A will be your answer and B won't be the answer, although it is close. Okay. Let's look at the second question. The author mentions the example of a painting to highlight that the book is not a satisfactory scheme for displaying photographs. While this sentence may be true, always be careful about options which are true. The information is true, but it's not the answer to the question because this information comes from somewhere else in the paragraph or the passage. The book not being satisfactory is because of the order in which the photographs are given cannot be imposed. I can randomly go from page 1 to page 30 and then page 70 or whatnot. That's why it's not a satisfactory scheme. But the question is about why a painting was mentioned. So option A is downstream. Downstream as in it comes later from the painting example, right? So A can be eliminated. The reproduction of a photo in a book is more accurate than the reproduction of a painting in a book. So painting's essential quality is not retained as much as the essential quality of a photo, the author says. So B possibly is the answer. A photograph is smoothened out more in a book than a painting is. You have to be careful about options like these. A photograph is smoothened out more in a book than a painting is. What does this option mean if you complete it? A photograph is smoothened out more in a book than a painting is smoothened out in a book. So which means photograph is smoothened more, painting is smoothened less. Which means that more of the painting will appear in the book, which means that the essential quality of a painting will be more highlighted in a book. The essential quality of a photograph will not be highlighted in a book. Okay, this option is playing with those test takers or those students who just look at words like these. Oh, smooth, I saw this word smooth, so this could be the answer. This option plays around with people like that. So sometimes the same words are used as it is, but the idea is completely garbled. So photograph is smoothened out. Smoothened out means more information is lost. So photograph is smoothened out more in a book than a painting is. So more information is lost from a photograph than information that is lost from a painting. But the author said that photograph is actually reproduced better. Painting is, in case of painting, more information is lost. So C is not correct. The essential quality of a photograph is more suited to printing in a book than it is for a painting. Now again, this "it is" very tricky. What does this option mean? The essential quality of a photograph is suited to printing in a book than, compared to, it is suited for a painting. So making a painting out of a photograph, printing a book out of a photograph. So here painting and book are at the same level, which was not the author's idea. The author was comparing painting and photograph, not painting and book. So this sentence again is a slightly complicated structure. This is the problem. Okay, if you don't understand sentence structures, everything looks confusing. But if you know how to break the sentences exactly into the right ideas, okay, the word than being the connection between these two, the idea 1 here and the idea 2 here, then you know what the sentence is trying to represent. I mean, even if the same sentence comes in an actual passage, you will understand the sentence correctly. I mean, if you do not understand the sentence structure, you don't know how to break the sentences, complicated sentences, you will misunderstand or misinterpret the sentence. That will lead to getting all the answers wrong sometimes. Okay, so D can be eliminated. So the answer to this particular question is B. One last point is about the style of writing and the tone of the para. The tone of the para is called incisive. Incisive means very sharp, crystal clear, very lucid. How do I know the tone is incisive? Because the author is clearly mentioning what are her points of view. Why is a book good? Why is a book not good? Why is a film good? Why is a film not good? Okay, and in each case the author is going deeper and deeper. So when the author goes deep, you call it incisive, as opposed to superficial, when the author covers a lot of information but does not dig deeper. Okay, more analytical. Style of writing, how is it different from tone? Style means how has the information been presented in the passage? How has it been presented in a persuasive manner? How do I know the style is persuasive? When as a reader you feel that the author is trying to convince you of something, then you know that the style is persuasive. There is a sales pitch. For example, in this particular passage, there was a sales pitch, isn't it? This is how a photograph should be looked at. This is the problem in a book, but this is the problem in a film and whatnot, isn't it? So persuasive style of writing, incisive tone. Okay. Hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, thank you.